Internet's going to connect. Yes, we are live. Hey, guys, it's Ted Bogert. We are back with the TED Show. Very excited. I've been trying to get this young gentleman on my show for quite a while. He's got a great story. Now he's a big speaker. I mean, you're just doing all sorts of stuff. Please welcome Gerren Sprauve. What's up, my friend? How you doing?
Doing well, man. Staying productive.
Staying productive. I like that. I think a lot of people say that and they don't really mean it. So I'm very happy, which we can have a whole show about, I'm sure.
I bet.
All right. So we're going to talk about fast tracking, or making sure you could fast track your calling. I love this topic. I love everything about it. So I want to take a deep dive. Before we do, people like to get to know you. So tell them a little bit of background on you, so we can have some insight on what brought you here.
Yeah, well, how far back you want me to go?
It's all your story, my friend.
I'm originally from St. Thomas, the United States Virgin Islands. I moved to Maryland back in 1996. I went to college there, moved down here to Orlando in 2001 once I completed college, and have been connected here ever since. I will say that I didn't like the idea of moving to Florida.
Why?
I don't know, man. I mean, from Maryland up north, you got that whole, you got the museums, you got the culture up there. I mean, I enjoyed it a lot.
Brother, you got the crab.
I mean,
all the rest of it. I mean, I love culture, but the crab.
Yeah, I'm sure people go there just for that. So moving here was quite different for me, but I'm glad that I committed, and I have to commend my wife for sticking with me on this. I committed to Orlando, and I've been able to build a network here, meet some great people like yourself, and it's been fun ever since.
I agree. Well, Orlando is such a great place for networking. So yes, but we met, and honestly, you're one of those people that I think people think of me as. I really didn't know what you did for a very, very long time. I just saw you being very organized and meeting centric, and always bringing people in and talking to new people. And in the back of my mind, I'm like, what does he do? So talk about that, because that's how I am as well. But I think a lot of people don't understand how that works. So give us a little idea of how you network and build.
And it may be interesting, and I want you to follow up with me and let me know if that's kind of how you are, because for me, it's all about how can I add value to the room. So it didn't matter if I was coming to the Citrus Club or to the I don't know, the University Club. I'm going here for a reason. There are people that are coming there for their reasons. How can I add value? How can I prepare? You see, I have a plethora of books behind me. It's like, how can I prepare for what potential conversations I will have when I get there? And how can I add value to that person's conversation or to their being, so that when they leave, they've gotten what they came for? So I've always been that kind of person. How can I serve you? How can I serve you? And then eventually it'll get back around to me. So I've never been someone who's all about title and presenting myself with business cards. Here's my card, here's my card, here's my card. It's like, how can we have a meaningful conversation? How can we help each other? And then let's see if we're a fit.
You have been amazing at it, because honestly, I think it took me asking, or it took us becoming friends on Facebook before I could do any research. But there's something about that. You're trying to build a real network, a solid foundation of people. And I think a lot of people go about it the way you were describing. They throw business cards at people. Pet peeve. Please don't throw your business card at me. They go into networking, and it's all about what you can do for them instead of what you can do for them. And so you have a servant leadership approach to things, a servant heart. And I think that's where you build the strongest foundation, in my opinion.
I agree totally, man. I mean, again, when people feel as though that you're there genuinely for them, and you're not hurting. I mean, I was doing that even when I started my business and I wasn't making much of any money at all, or I didn't have many clients. I still took that approach because I enjoyed it. Like, I came to the room because I wanted to get to meet you, and because of that, things just tend to happen organically. I didn't put myself or beat myself up with quotas. It was like, how many meaningful conversations could I have? Typically, when I would show up at a networking event, I would have 5 business cards, and I expected to go home with at least 2. The 3, I felt I could build.
Good. You had an expectation. You knew what you wanted to do. I think a lot of people don't go into those. All right, we had lots of questions before we went live about your calling, because I think a lot of people, when they see that, they think another word for that is your purpose, what you're supposed to be doing. And that doesn't mean your 9-to-5 job or your 5-to-9 job. That means what your real human purpose is, or higher power purpose, spiritual purpose, whatever you believe in. So let's talk about how you came to find yours.
Yeah. Well, of course, like many others, it started with feeling, back against the wall, depressed, distraught. What am I supposed to do with my life? That whole idea. And that being in that position, it helped me to focus on people. It helped me to focus on what was going on around me, in and out of my world. And I was patient. I was observing everyone, looking at them and thinking about their story. And I stumbled upon a gentleman who was preparing a place for my wife and I to have dinner. Well, in his mind, he was literally just cleaning the table. And I stood there with my wife on my arm, and I just looked at him as he was doing his job. And he was doing it very well, and I wanted to say thank you. But the gentleman never looked up at me, Ted. I mean, he was just like doing his job. We're standing there, and he's just doing his job, and then he took off to walk away. And I said, "Excuse me, sir, thank you." And he said, well, why are you telling me thank you? And I said, well, you prepared a place for my wife and I to have dinner. And if you didn't do this, we wouldn't stay here. So thank you. And the guy smiled. He took off to another table, and he's cleaning, and he's looking at everyone in their faces, because it seemed as though he found why he was there. And for me, I got chills all through my body.
Of course, I got it when you just said it.
God. Yeah, and I turned to my wife and I said, I want to do that again. So for me, it was just that whole act of showing gratitude and seeing how it changed the demeanor of someone. And it's like, how can I show gratitude to everyone that's around me?
How do you do it? Because I think a lot of people, I preach about it too. We have Gratitude Tuesday on the show. I mean, when's the last time you said I thank you, or I love you, or I appreciate you to people? But I think people get stuck on it. It's kind of like prayer or anything meditation. You don't want to say the wrong thing, and I think people spend way too much time worrying about how to say it instead of just saying.
Just saying it, and it's the whole act of showing kindness too, And yes, my journey started with showing kindness to someone in the service industry, but there's many people across the world, man. I mean, people who are in leadership positions, in corporate America. I mean, they too can show kindness to their team members, be compassionate. And I think it starts with us being compassionate with ourselves. Now, I thought that I really had it down pat, the way that I would show gratitude to other people, but I recognized over the years that I wasn't forgiving myself for some things that I've done in my past. I wasn't being gracious to myself. And that was affecting my effectiveness of showing gratitude to other people. So I had to take that personal journey, going to therapy, just kind of like peeling back the layers of different things that has gone through my life. And now I'm even more excited. I'm more vulnerable. I'm more present in showing gratitude to people, everyone around me. Doesn't matter.
I love your discussion on that, because I think a lot of people do beat themselves up, and they don't realize that in beating themselves up, it impacts how they are, how their relationships are, how they interact with the world, the universe, other people, God, faith. It impacts everything you do. But people beat themselves up. I don't know if it's our culture or what it is, and we're not very forgiving of ourselves at all. So when you got to that point and you realized it, so you still, I'm going to put on the business hat for a second. You still have to make money. You want to do good in the world. And I look at what we do, our businesses, even as a ministry, whatever your word is. So I view it as touching the world and doing my part of my good.
Yes.
But a lot of people are like, I don't know how to get there. I don't know what to do. I'm not exactly sure what that means. So a lot of the people said, can he really fast track me? And I thought that was very observant of them, because they're obviously paying attention.
Yeah.
So what's your thought process on that? You still have to make money. You still want to do the great things in life. And I think that's what people struggle with. How did you marry the two?
Yeah. Great question. Great question, Ted. So, okay. Again, we talked about being patient. All right. Now, in my book, Fast Track Your Calling, it says how to fuel your drive with every assignment. How to fuel your drive with every assignment. So the question that I always start my day off with this is with this. And again, I don't know how people feel about the universe, God, what have you. But for me, I ask God 3 questions. Who am I supposed to meet? What am I supposed to share? And what am I supposed to learn? Okay. So I wake up in the morning before I get my day started, because my belief is like, he knows who I'm supposed to reach out to. It's like, God, who am I supposed to meet today? What am I supposed to share with them? And what am I supposed to learn? It humbles me and allows me to wait for the download. One, somebody God has already queued up for us to intersect. He's going to tell me what I'm supposed to share with them. And then because I'm humble, when they speak, I'll also learn something today. And I think the universe is always talking to us. You know, it's always sending us signals. And the question is, are we paying attention? Yeah, we can be in our phones. Are we paying attention? And if we're paying attention and seeing and observing everyone that we're coming in contact with, I think God will tell us what it is we're supposed to share. What's the experience supposed to be like? And if he wants to give us blessings throughout the course of the day, throughout the course of our lives, then he's going to connect us. So now it's not me hustling and grinding and all that stuff. It's just me taking deep breaths and paying attention. And that, when I realized that I would wake up in the morning, ask those 3 questions, and I would start getting leads without me doing a thing, I said, Gerren, it's time for you to get out the way. So I started getting out the way.
Yes, we get in our own way. We really are our own worst enemy. You mentioned something earlier I want to go back to, the listening part. I think people have a hard time being silent and still. And again, I'm also a faith man, so still is mentioned a lot in the Bible. And I think that people have a hard time with it, so they miss hearing things, not just from your spiritual world, but also the people you're interacting with and the messages. You mentioned missing messages. Yeah. They're not always a giant sign, people, that's on fire that tells you what you need to do next. Sometimes it's you taking a deep breath, and listening and taking it all in.
Oh my God. You know, I have a buddy of mine. His name is Mr. James English. He used to live here in town. He's kind of back and forth now. But he talked to me about this whole idea of being curious in a way where you listen to what people are saying, and then you can like dive deep. There's something that they're saying that we need to pay attention to so that we can ask the best follow-up question. And I've asked him, I said, yo, like, talk to me. Like, how can I learn that skill set? And he said, Gerren, you got to put in the reps. Those are the words he said to me. You have to put in the reps. And if we're encountering people every single day, we have opportunities to put in the reps.
We do.
Now, again, just be patient, be quiet, listen to understand. So what I'm hearing you say is listen to understand. Then we can go and dive deep and build those kind of meaningful relationships.
It's so true. I think people listen in their minds to answer, not to understand.
Yeah.
And so they spend all the time thinking about what their response is going to be. It's human nature, guys. I'm not judging you because I still do it, and I'm constantly in practice and in progress. Sometimes I get frustrated and I'm like, oh my God, I got to say my piece. Yep. But most of the time I try to be very cognizant of listening to every last word. So I make sure I get the intonation, what they really mean. What are they trying to tell me? And I can take it all in and delve into it a little bit. All right. Before we head out, it's so important to me. You haven't asked me to do this, but what do you do? What is your business that we should know about?
Yeah. So what started this whole thing off is my business is Clean Slate Janitorial Service, where we help businesses around the Orlando area, Central Florida, create clean, fresh, and inviting environments. That's what we do every day. You know, I started it off saying we just clean toilets, but it's much, much more than that. Our team members, we set them up for success in the standpoint that we allow them to not just be a cleaner, but be a human being in front of our customers, our clients. I want them to shine. I want them to be known by their name, not just by what they do, but by their name. And that requires them preparing themselves adding value, studying, growing, having a kind spirit so that people can recognize them as a human being. So that's the purpose behind what it is we do. But what we do is create clean, fresh, and inviting environments for commercial offices throughout the Central Florida area.
I love it. See, you didn't ask me to do that, but I feel like it's always important that people know, because I'll get a million questions later.
Yeah,
You didn't talk about what he does, Ted.
Yeah.
And so I've really begun. See, I listen to the people. I've really begun.
I appreciate you, man. I appreciate you.
That. All right, Gerren Sprauve, you're amazing. Thank you so much. All his websites are scrolling across the bottom. Reach out to him. You want to reach out and find out how he does it. You need commercial cleaning. Guys, how many people watch this show that need commercial office cleaning? You're a joy, my friend. Thank you so much for being on the show.
It's always a pleasure, man. I appreciate you. Keep pushing. Keep doing what you're doing. I love it.
Thank you. You too. All right, guys, we'll be back. See you later. Bye, everybody.